Hey guys, so for the next part of the talk, which I'll be taking, I suppose the main message that I've got for a lot of you is do the simple things, but do them really well. I'm not going to be talking about anything fancy tonight. I'm not going to be blowing your socks off with any brand new information that you wouldn't have ever heard before, but as long as you do the simple things really well, you're probably going to do pretty well with your running. So I'm here to talk about how you can increase your capacity to tolerate load, okay? So if you're the kind of person, you're pretty finely, you're kind of in tune with your body and you know that as soon as you do more than 30K a week of running, you get injured. I'm here to tell you how you can take that threshold from 30 to 50, okay? Or whatever might help your running a bit. And it's all pretty simple stuff. Number one, strengthen your springs, i.e. lift heavy weights, okay, which James has already touched on. Number two, train progressively, okay, really simple. You've probably heard your coach say it over and over again, progressive overload, all right. Number three, recover well, and for our purposes, the two big ticket items in terms of recovery that I'm going to talk about is sleep, okay, a good quality of sleep, and nutrition, okay. Everything else in terms of recovery, I'd consider very much marginal, and if you get those things right, you don't need to worry about all the other fancy stuff. Okay, so let's dive into strength training a bit. So what do we know about strength training and what it can do for injury prevention? First of all, what we know, and this paper was actually updated just last year as well, is we know that strength training, when done well and done progressively, can reduce your risk of acute muscle injuries by 70%, okay, 69%. So we're talking about, pinging a calf, pinging a hammy, those kind of things, those kind of acute flare-up muscle injuries. All right, that's massive, okay, 70% reduction. Compare that to some possibly more dogmatic ways of preventing muscle tears like stretching, and it's chalk and cheese, okay? We also know it can reduce your risk by half of overuse injuries, so niggly knees, niggly Achilles, stuff like that, and reduce the load on your joints, okay? So if you get strong, your knees, your ankles, your hips, they take less load, they take less of a beating, all right? Also, if you do strength training for longer, it makes all this stuff better, okay? So you're more protected the longer you do it for. We also know if you do it, as James touched on, you can build up your running quicker. All right, so if you've got a background in strength training, you can actually increase your running quicker than anyone else could. And importantly, maybe for some people in here, is for triathletes who are doing the amount of aerobic activity that you guys do, and it's not going to increase body mass, okay? Which is good for us when running. Performance is quite dependent on weight. All right, so when we program, or when we talk about specifics of a strength program, what it actually looks like, I don't like recipes, but for the sake of simplicity, what I would generally suggest for a strength program is it's done twice a week, a maximum of 5 different exercises, okay? And we're working somewhere within that 5 to 8 repetition range, okay? If you can do a lot more than 8 repetitions, certainly once you're into the swing of your strength training, it's too light, all right, for about 3 sets. It has to be a mixture of hip, knee, and ankle movements. All right, has to be meaningful. It has to be heavy. All right, so this is probably something that a lot of people in our profession fall a bit short of, is they don't provide, people like you, fit, strong people already, they don't provide enough meaningful load for your muscles to actually get any stimulus out of this. All right, surprise, surprise, it needs to be progressive. Okay, so you've got to measure it and you've got to make sure it gets harder or heavier as you go. Has to be done all year round, ideally, okay, especially during your competitive season. All right, so don't stop it because you've got races coming up. That's the best time to be doing it, as long as you've been doing it for a while already. Importantly, it has to be juggled around the rest of your life, okay? So everything outside of the sport has to be juggled around the rest of your training, okay? And you need someone that knows how to do that. And very importantly, it has to be done safely, okay? So you have to be taught how to do them. You have to be supervised, at least initially, so you know how to do the lifts properly, so you can avoid this. Okay, how long do you do them for? So a few key timelines here. We know that after about 6 weeks, you start to see muscle strength improvements. After about 12 weeks, you tend to see tendon stiffness and tendon thickness improvements, okay, which is really important for running capacity. The suggestions that if you currently got an injury, then your lead-in of strength training should be more like 18 weeks. A general clinical suggestion is before you decide whether it's for you or not, probably at 20 weeks of strength training, progressive strength training is where you want to be looking at. All right, a quick bonus, and I won't touch on this too long because I know there's other people here to talk about running performance, but strength training also makes you faster, okay? So I've cherry-picked a study here. These guys out of Finland, they took a bunch of high-level runners, okay? So these are people that are running about 17 and a half minutes for 5K, doing up to 100K a week of running, okay? So decent high-level runners that are well-trained. They split that group down the middle. Half of them were sent to do their normal run training for another 9 weeks, and the other half reduced the amount of running they were doing and went to the gym twice a week instead. They did another 5K time trial at the end. The guys who just kept doing their 100K a week of running didn't see a significant change in their 5K time. Those who did less running and went to the gym twice instead improved their 5K time by on average 40 seconds. So that's massive, okay? If I could get from 17:30 to 16:50 in 9 weeks, I would take that in a heartbeat. All right, so improved 5K time. It also improves your running economy, okay? So they measured running economy by how long your foot was in contact with the ground, and it reduced how much oxygen you needed to run at the same speed, okay? So all really good things, and perhaps a bit surprising. Certainly when I first read that, it was a bit surprising. Now, one of the things that I deal a little bit with in the clinic, and I'm sure a lot of us would, is reasons why people can't do strength training. So I want to address some of the common barriers that you might have floating around in your head or that you've heard before, but hopefully we've dispelled some of these already. All right, I don't have time is a classic one. As you know, you can actually reduce the amount of training you're doing so that you can have time to go to the gym and it still has its benefits. I don't want to get bulky. All right, I already roll, stretch, get massages, etc., to avoid injury, so I don't need to do gym training. I already train hills for running, okay, it's a really common one. Okay, I'm doing my strength training by running up hills. I'm a great fan of hill training, but it's not strength training. My coach doesn't like the gym, okay, that's fair enough. I don't like the gym, also fair enough. I don't really like gyms. And really importantly, I don't know what to do in the gym, okay? And that's, everyone started at that point at some stage. All right, but I suppose the main message is here, you can't be bulletproof to running injuries by only going to the gym, all right? The best thing to get you used to running is running, okay? Best is you want to do about 4 weeks of consistent running at this base level where you're just getting 5 jogs a week before you move on to step number 2, all right? Which is increasing your running volume, okay? And there's lots of suggestions amongst the research about how best to do this, all right? We've already touched on a few, but our simplest and best clinical recommendation is once you've got that 4 weeks of frequent running under your belt, increase your training volume by about 15 minutes a week, okay? It's a nice simple rule there. Or if you want to use the acute to chronic ratio, keep that at around 1.2 when you're increasing your load, all right? This might mean you need to add in an extra run, that's fine. All right. What I'd also suggest is that out of your total weekly training volume, your long run shouldn't be any more than half of that, okay? So if you're only running 20K a week, but your long run is 13 of those Ks, that is going to require a little bit of management. All right, and every 4th to 6th week, reduce your training load a little bit so your kind of tissues can adapt to that, okay? But keep it within that sweet spot. All right, and what I'd suggest here is 1 to 2 training cycles. So whether your training cycle is 4 weeks, if you do 3 overload weeks, then 1 recovery week, 1 to 2 training cycles before you move on to step 3, which is adding intensity. Okay, and this is something where a lot of us fall foul, especially I suppose those who train with a club or with a group. A lot of the run sessions will be intense run sessions, and then outside of that, because of time constraints, we don't really have time to do any runs, so all of our runs are intense runs. I would suggest following the 80-20 rule with run training, which seems to translate to every area of life. I want to show you a quick bit of research here that shows how some elite marathon runners are trained in the lead up to a marathon. And we're talking about, sub 2:10 marathon runners, so very, very quick runners. If you look at that graph there, the big tall green column is easy running, okay? That's their easy running. The red column is running above race pace, so 3K pace, 10K pace, that kind of thing. And the tiny yellow column is in the middle is them running at their marathon race pace. So they spend about 80% of their time running easy, 80% of their volume, running easy, 20% of their volume running hard, and a tiny bit left over actually running at their race pace. all right? And as the paper suggested, this is in contrast to most of us recreational athletes, okay? We probably spend a hell of a lot more time in the red zone and a hell of a lot less time in the green zone. All right, so what I'm saying here is avoid the grey zone, okay? It's that awkward middle area that we all just do our runs in, okay? Whether it's just because we're trying to keep up with a mate who's a bit quicker than us, or we think we need to be running hard, like if we don't get to the end of a run and we're covered in sweat, then we didn't run hard enough, all right? Avoid that awkward middle grey zone. Run easy and run hard, and the stuff in the middle, it still happens, but use it sparingly. This is for injury prevention, by the way. All right, the last main point in terms of preventing injury or increasing your capacity to tolerate running load is recovery. All right, the two big ticket items here are sleep and sleep quality. So again, there was one particular paper that showed that if you're getting less than 8 hours sleep a night, you're increasing your risk of getting an injury by 1.7 times or 70%, okay? So that's me. I fall into that category definitely. So just be mindful of that. If you're a human that has to go home and take care of kids and you don't get to sleep during the day because you've got a job, that's most of us, all right? Make sure you respect the fact that less sleep means increased risk of injury, all right? And try and get a few more hours if possible. And the other side of things is energy availability. So I'm really talking about diet here, okay? The main message is make sure that you've got enough energy availability for the amount of training you're doing. So if you start training more and eat better, okay? There's something which tends to manifest in injuries a little bit. It's probably especially in triathlon, because again, in triathlon it's favorable to be light and we're all trying to lose a few kilos so we can run faster. It's this thing called relative energy deficiency, okay? Where you're basically in a calorie deficit for the amount of training you're doing. That means your tissues can't recover as quickly, which puts you at an elevated risk of injury, okay? And this is especially important in a few particular populations, okay? So if you've got a low BMI, if you start having altered menstrual cycles, your menstrual function is a bit altered, it's definitely a bit of a red flag to have a look at your energy availability. If you're on a restricted diet for whatever reason, if you've got a high training load, which is most of us at the moment, and also if you've got unresolved bony injuries, bony injuries that just don't seem to be getting better, it's definitely worth having a look at your energy availability. All right, and I suppose in summary for my chat is what you probably gathered from a lot of that is the rules that apply in preventing injuries are remarkably similar to the rules that apply in rehabbing from an injury, which are also remarkably similar to the rules that apply in going fast. All right, so there's a nice little graphic here which basically says that the goals and principles of rehabilitation and training are almost exactly the same. The only difference is the starting point, okay? So whether you haven't run for 2 years because of some kind of injury that's going on and you're trying to do your first K run, or whether you're trying to win an Olympic gold medal, the principles of those kind of trainings are remarkably similar, okay? You slowly overload what you're doing, you allow your tissues to adapt to that, you're trying to increase your strength, and you're trying to increase your resilience, all right? Really, really simple stuff, but it's kind of worth remembering. All right, guys, that's all from me. I'm going to shift you over to Dan now.